Okay, so good afternoon. We're going to wait a few minutes to let people log in. This is our first day trying the new programming, or it should be on a variety of different Facebook pages and YouTube pages today live across the shoreline. So if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the Steve Mazzacane podcast. I am Steve Mazzacane. If you are familiar with Branford 7 or Madison Atticus or Guilford Atticus, you may know who I am. I've moderated a series of debates in many towns and cover politics on a regular basis. So if there's any questions or issues seeing me or hearing me, just let me know. We're trying some things out for the first time today. To those unfamiliar with what we try to do here, what I try to do with this podcast, for about 10 years I've covered news in Branford. I am a registered Democrat. I was a member of the Branford Democratic Town Committee about 12 years ago. I'll give you a little bit of my history because we do have some new people listening today. At that time, I worked on Obama's first campaign a little bit, worked on some local campaigns, and after that decided that I didn't really want to be locked into one party and one ideology or just blindly follow anybody. So I kind of left and started a new site. It was never meant to be a business, but it kind of grew and the audience grew. And here we are today. And so about 4 or 5 months ago, I started a podcast every Monday through Thursday. It's live, obviously, except for holidays. And we talk about issues in town, in the state, or nationally. We talk about presidential race quite a bit. And the goal here is to expand the audience along the shoreline and hopefully more in the state. That said, the issues can be, I typically don't take, I don't favor one side left or right. You're going to see, if those that have watched this on a regular basis, I have gone pretty hard after Republicans, pretty hard after Democrats, because we look at issues on the merits of those issues. We don't believe or I don't believe in the blindly following a Democratic viewpoint or Republican viewpoint or a party. It makes no sense to me, and I firmly believe that the vast majority of people out there, the vast majority of voters, think like I do. They don't want to be locked into one particular group or ideology. So, all right, Justin just posted, lock your cars. Many cars were stolen in Pine Orchard. I do this live at 4 o'clock, which means you can comment and I will sometimes respond to those comments. The reason I do it live is to add the level of transparency. There is no question. I'm saying these things myself. Something cannot be taken out of context. If there are issues, come on. If you are a troll, I'll delete you. I have no problem getting rid of people who are just jerks. I will say this. I talk on this podcast the way I talk normally, which sometimes is language that not everybody appreciates. I'm trying to reduce the amount of swearing I do, but sometimes if I'm especially heated on a topic, I may, so I apologize in advance for that. But on today's topic, I have been multiple times in the podcast over the last, I would say, 2 or 3 months, we've talked about social media and the use of social media by politicians, by political parties, and the nonsense that is spread on a regular basis on social media. I can say that I've already taken a political stance in the 102nd District where I've endorsed Robin Comey, primarily because Robin's fine, but her opponent has posted very inappropriate things on social media. It's funny about political parties and politicians that we'll spend so much time analyzing a press release. We'll take a press release, we'll write it, and we'll run it by somebody else, we'll run it by somebody else before we issue that press release. But a social media post we don't think anything of, we just post up. And they have the same effect. What you post on social media is who you are. And so we live in a world where people feel the need to say anything, and certainly for political purposes will overreact and go absurd over nothing. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Now, I haven't covered Madison a lot, but I was a member of the Chamber of Commerce there for a while. I was covered at a bunch of meetings for a while there, but Branford and Guilford have been more of my attention. But it's really almost comical to think about what's happened here. So I'm going to look at the Madison, Connecticut Democrats page on Facebook. And I'm going to read this email or this message from Joan Walker, who is the chair of the Madison Democratic Town Committee. I don't know if she handles the Facebook page We're just going to talk about what she posted. I'm going to read this. It says, I understand that the executive director of the Madison Chamber of Commerce is the vice chair of the Republican Town Committee. She's referencing to Eileen Banish, who is the head of the Chamber of Commerce and also the vice chair of the RTC. Her husband was the former first selectman. We've had several Facebook debates as heads of opposing parties. However, I think there is a line crossed when the executive director of the Madison Chamber suggests that a person running for elected office places the wares of a chamber member in Madison business on a target to shoot them for target practice. I firmly believe that the chamber, along with its director, should support all members in Madison businesses equally without bias. So, we're going to go into what the actual statements that what this about was. But this is not Joan Walker posting to her personal page. This is Joan Walker posting to the Madison Democratic page. When you post to a page like that, you're trying to rile people up. You're trying to get your base mad about something. And it works. So she posts, we're going to read some of these comments. It's just amazing to see. I can see where their priorities lie, and wow, is it disappointed. These are supposed to be our leaders, our role models, yet they can't seem to drop the petty elementary school mentality. A sad, sad day for Madison. Another one. This is beyond disturbing. Joking about violence towards someone is never acceptable. Wow, okay, I agree. Coming from someone whose job it is to support town business and civic engagement, this is sad. Another one. As a chamber member, I am appalled. Why do we belong to the chamber if not for equal treatment? These are pretty serious comments. You know, seriously, if we are joking about violence towards someone, that's awful. Another one, very inappropriate and an embarrassment to the town. Ms. Banish should apologize. Someone should be asked to resign from such a position. Calling for an act of violence using a firearm. That's serious. Unbelievable and quite shocking considering who it's coming from. This is not surprising though, sadly. Another one. Wow, completely out of line and obviously does not support all the business in Madison. Only those that agree with her ideals. Step down, Eileen. Your job is to raise awareness and support of all Madison businesses. Here's another one. This makes me even more happy we voted Tom's ass out of the first selectman's office. Here's another one. I can't believe this was coming from her. So inappropriate. Where is her mentality? I did not take this as a joke. You should resign immediately. So, these are serious. Alleging violence against other candidates. She should resign. She should lose her job. She should lose her livelihood because of this comment. The Joan Walker posting and getting these Democrats riled up over this. I can't quite imagine how awful this post must be. So let's talk about that. Here's the post. Joe Laporta, who was running in the 12th district against Christine Cohen. And by the way, Cohen had nothing to do with this. I'm in no way, shape, or form implying Cohen had anything to do with this. And to those who know this, who watch this podcast, I have very much defended Cohen very recently when there was suggestions that her business, she would lose business over a vote on that police bill. So I think I'm pretty good talking about this issue. Joe Laporta. I received word I received the endorsement from the NRA. And there's a picture of him with a rifle at a shooting range. Okay. Eileen Banish's response. You should put a bagel on the bullseye. That's it. That's what you said. Now, it's kind of funny. Christine Cohen owns a bagel shop. Eileen Banish suggested that he shoot a bagel. Eileen Banish suggested that he shoot a bagel. Let's go back and read some of those responses again. From the Madison Democratic Party. This is beyond disturbing. Joking about violence towards someone is never acceptable. She should lose her job. Very inappropriate and an embarrassment to the town. Someone should be asked to resign from such a position. Calling for an act of violence using a firearm. Shooting a bagel. That was a suggestion made. Shooting a bagel. We have reached full crazy if we're going to send our political parties into a frenzy over shooting a damn bagel. Now, a month ago, I very much defended Christine Cohen. Again, this has nothing to do with Cohen. We don't want to imply that for a second. When she took a vote on the police bill, people said we should boycott her business, we should go out of business, they should shut it down, all these other things. Despicable, disgusting. I had a podcast for a half hour where I talked about how ridiculous that was. I posted a lengthy thing on social media on how ridiculous that was. I physically went that day and had lunch at Cohen's Bagels in Madison. I live in Branford. To suggest somebody have harm because of their political beliefs or political party is ridiculous. To suggest their business and to be financial impacts is ridiculous. To suggest somebody shoot a bagel is a joke. It's not a very funny one, but it's a joke. The crime here is that Miss Walker, the head of a party, someone who should have a little more common sense than this, is deliberately trying to rile up her party over nothing. That's the crime here. And this isn't new. This is becoming standard operating procedure for political parties. No matter what happens, attack mercilessly. And there are now hundreds of comments, just like what I read to you, all over social media. Now, there's one thing Democrats need to start understanding. And I am a Democrat. I've endorsed Democrats. I have been very hard on Republicans on this podcast. So I'll say this with a little bit of freedom of speech. I'll get to it in a second. There's a simple fact that people have to understand politically, and that is this. Donald Trump does not have enough votes just from his supporters to win an election. Let me repeat that. If just Donald Trump's supporters voted for him, he would lose the national vote by a ton and come nowhere close in the Electoral College. That statement holds true in 2016 as well. If only Donald Trump's supporters voted for him, he would have, Hillary Clinton would be president right now. He would not have won the national vote, obviously, but he never would have won the Electoral College, and it wouldn't have been close. Because it wasn't just Donald Trump's supporters that voted for him. There was another group. And they were a group of unaffiliated, some Democrats, who were sick of the politically correct nonsense crap we're getting from the left, of being offended by everything. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And to start an attack on someone's job because of a joke about shooting a bagel just falls into that category. The Democrats handed Trump the election by acting like 5-year-olds over and over, and especially on social media. That no one can make a comment, no one can make a joke without being offended. And by the way, this isn't just me saying this. There's prominent Democrats that have said this for a long time. Bill Maher has been saying it for years, and he's given millions of dollars to the Democratic Party. We have to remember something. 80% of the Republicans, 100% of the unaffiliated, and 80% of the Democrats are pretty much on the same page. Fairly socially liberal, fiscally conservative, are willing to vote either way based on better candidates. The other 20%, it may only be 10%, are nuts. They're crazy. They're the people who have said, I'm voting for a political party no matter what. I don't care what they stand for. I don't care what they say. I'm voting for a political party. That's brainwashed bullshit. That's what that is. That's nonsense. And that's the people who are on the social media doing this. And you have somebody who is given a lot to the town, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, makes a stupid joke, and the world is coming to an end. Is this really what we want to be a part of? To those Democrats, is this the crap you want to be a part of? You want to be associated with this? Let's get worked up over nothing? Joan Walker must be a lot of fun at parties. Jesus Christ. All these comments, they're appalled. She should lose her job. Inciting violence. Nonsense. None of this is true. But this is the crap we deal with the left. The right has their own issues. We'll have plenty of podcasts on the right. But the left, the self-righteous bullshit of how dare you make a comment. By the way, people have guns. You suggested shooting a bagel. The only people who should be upset about that are bagels. And I don't see any bagels marching on town hall. It was like raisin bagels on this side and onion bagels on that. Who gives a shit about bagels? It was a stupid joke. But when the head of your party, you crossed the line, she didn't cross the line. She didn't do anything. It's a nonsense joke. By the way, what do we do at SNL where they make fun of everything about candidates? Or the correspondence dinner we have where the president, not this president, but Obama and every president before spoke and made fun of other candidates, including Trump. Can we not have a sense of humor anymore? Are the Democrats so lost and so unaware of their own idiocy that they can't stop and say, let's not do this? Like, I don't know what the process was for this letter to be posted on the Madison Democrats page, but whoever runs the page, if it's someone other than Joan Walker, the conversation had to go like, Joan says, here's an email, I'd like you to post this. And another person with a brain should have said, okay, I'll read it. Wow, this is serious. It crossed over a line. But what was said? And Joan should have said, well, they suggested we shoot a bagel. And the other person should have said, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Well, we suggested we shoot a bagel. No, we're not going to post that. That's what should have happened. Not posting that stupid crap. And Eileen, basically because she's dealing with a bunch of 5-year-olds and said, listen, just end this, said, all right, I'm sorry, it was a joke. And they all attacked her again. I don't believe you, you're full of shit, all this other stuff. We've reached full crazy here. I'm going to give you another example of just how nuts this is. And that is, there's a young man running in Madison who, by all accounts, is a good man. Again, I'm not putting him on the spot at all. Earlier this week, a bunch of Republicans posted on social media that they were endorsed by the Democratic Party they're endorsed by the Independent Party. And so every year, both parties try to go after the independent thing. It's happened forever. It really doesn't mean much, but whatever. They did that. So the New Canaan Democrats post something, and then the Branford Democrats then jump on board. And I'm going to read to you in a second what was said as I pull this up. With all these cameras. Okay, the New Canaan Democrats, and was shared by Branford, it says, your yearly reminder that the Independent Party is not independent. If you are not registered with a party, you are an unaffiliated voter. The Independent Party takes advantage of the fact most voters do not understand this nuance, attempting to absorb more voters in support of the Republican candidates they endorse. So first of all, these are Democrats basically alluding to everybody being an idiot. Like, you don't understand what you registered for, and people are taking advantage of that. But secondly, that the independent nomination is a ploy to help Republican candidates. Well, let's flash forward to today, when John Michael Parker, running in Madison, a Democrat, posts this. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Independent Party because I believe in working together. Guys, get your shit together. You're sending your members to get riled up over nothing, and the members are clearly cult members. If you got riled up over a suggestion that somebody shoot a bagel, there's something wrong with you. You need to look in the mirror and do some self-reflection. But also realize this. You're the reason Trump's in office. Trump didn't get in from his own supporters. He got in from people tired of your crap, of starting nonsense over nothing. That's how he got in. And as a Democrat, end it already. Now, I know that Banish has gotten a million emails. People are going to the Chamber of Commerce calling for her job. There's an opportunity here for two people. I'm not putting pressure on them. But as I see it, two people have the ability to be the adults in the room right now. Joan Walker is gone. Forget that. I don't know how, if you're a Democrat in Branford, find a new chairman. Because anybody who has a brain and thinks it's okay to put that up, just absurd. And anybody who commented on it, just get them out of the party. That is not reasonable. It is not logical. It is not intelligent. There's nothing smart about that. But there's an opportunity for either Mr. John Michael Parker or Christine Cohen to come out and publicly say enough of this stupid shit. They won't use those words. because somebody has to be the adult in the room. Joan Walker ain't it. To use your party to rile up and try to get somebody else's job over shooting a bagel comment is comical, but she's not it. And this crap needs to stop. This is what's wrong with our country. We can't talk about real stuff because we're riling people up over shooting a bagel. Do you understand how idiotic that is? What's amazing about it is it came on a post about a guy getting an NRA nomination, which is going to get him no additional votes. Getting endorsed by the NRA is not going to help you politically in the 12th district. People who are going to vote for you are already going to vote for you. You're not getting any more votes for it. So that's the irony of all this. A little stupid joke about shooting a bagel. Grow balls, have a sense of humor, and if you're a Democrat in Madison, start speaking up when people do stupid stuff like this. There's plenty of real issues to fight on. So what really needs to happen going forward is that these political parties need to find a better way to manage their social media and what they allow. And I'll tell you this, Branford's a little crazy. Madison's clearly crazy. Guilford, I never see this stuff from. The Guilford Democrats, I never see it. Guilford Republicans, I still see it sometimes. But the Guilford Democrats, I don't know if it's because Matt Hoey or Scanlon or Veronica Wallace, or you have, I don't know if Willits is involved, but you have like a higher level of class. They may go at each other during election season, but you don't see nonsense posts like this. In fact, they had a chairman who was posting some stuff, and they got rid of him. That's what should happen. Fight battles that actually need fighting, not personal vendettas over shooting a bagel. The world's coming to an end. Oh, inciting violence. She needs to resign, fire her. What's wrong with you? It's absurd. And it's happening more and more and more. If you're using your social media pages to start wars with the other side, you are the problem. It's ridiculous and it needs to stop. That'll be our podcast. I don't see a lot of comments coming in yet. I know we have a bunch of new audiences coming in, so I'm not sure technically how everything's working yet. We're airing on a bunch of different Facebook pages. The program I have should bring all the comments to one place. I'm not sure that's happening yet. So if there are questions or comments or what have you, please email me and send those in. Every day at 4 o'clock we're here, Monday through Thursday, so we'll be here tomorrow and obviously Thursday night. We'll talk about some local issues, statewide issues, and national issues. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about some national issues and Trump and Biden. As always, to those that are just joining us, welcome. Thank you for coming. If there's questions or comments, send them in. To those that always watch, I appreciate you as well. And I will talk to you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.